off with a couple questions for you. If this is your first underground music showcase or impact days, show me your hands. That's what I want to see. That is so exciting. If you are 24 years or younger, can you show me your hands? Love it. That's great. If you started making music when you were 18 years old or younger, show me your hands. Yep, I love that. Okay, so show me your hands if at some point in your journey as a musician or a creator, music industry professional, that you wanted to quit because you were experiencing a lack of support or resources. Yeah. That show of hands is exactly why we're doing Impact Days. My name is Jami Duffy, and I am the co-manager of the Underground Music Showcase. This is my third year in that role. I am the first woman to hold this position. Certainly will not be the last, and it is just such an honor to do this work. I'm also want to introduce you to our co-manager and co-owner of the festival, Casey Berry, his partner in crime, Keenan. So this conversation that I'm about to have with you is really on behalf of all ownership of UMS. I'm also the longtime 14-year executive director of Youth on Record, which is an organization here in Colorado that you're going to learn a little bit more about. All right, Mission Fest. Whether or not you know it right now, you are, as being a part of the Underground Music Showcase, you are a part of a mission, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. What are we doing at UMS? We are putting you first. We're putting artists first. So 3 years ago, a partnership formed between Two Parts and Youth on Record. And we came together and we said, what does a music festival look like if it's not commodifying artists, but instead is putting our artists as our primary client? And we really wanted to build on that mission and to build on what it looks like to care for our artists at the festival. So you being here this morning, your illegal Pete's Burritos and Burrito Bowls are part of that care practice, but I want to show you a little bit of what you can expect this weekend and in the future from UMS. So first of all, we really are pushing for thriving artist wages and also professional development. So I want to share a couple things with you. This partnership has decided that for the past 3 years, that $400 would be the band minimum to play UMS. Minimum, right? You can only go up from there. What does that look like in the full picture? Well, that means that Two Parts and Youth on Record have invested an additional $350,000 into the pockets of discovery artists over 3 years. We are absolutely committed to this, and this is something that we're working hard to do every day, which requires fundraising, philanthropy, and government support to make this happen, but you're worth it, and we're happy to do that work. Hello, did we go back? We did. Free musician conference, that's today. I'm gonna tell you what we're doing here. And then free private coaching. So some of you have already signed up for this, but there's some coaches out here, myself included, who are gonna sit with you and work with you on your careers. This is all 100% free to all of you, and it's really just our honor to be able to offer this. So what are we doing at Impact Days, this conference? Over the next 2 days, this conference is hosted by Youth on Record and our incredible team. Let's give them a round of applause. They have been working for 6 months on this conference. Mona over here has been doing a great job. Steven in the back, you'll hear from him in a minute. What are we here to do? We're here to learn from the past, right? We're also here to figure out where we are in this moment. And then our hope is that we walk away and roll away from this conference with an understanding of where we're going together. This is an intergenerational conference. It needs to be, right? We need all ages here. All of those perspectives are really important at the table because we all have so much to learn from each other. Back again. I'm getting used to this clicker. I don't know how to use it with my left or right hand. We have 450 musicians and music industry professionals registered for this conference. You all are the early birds, and I'm so proud of you for being here at 10 in the morning. We have brought in 70 experts for you who are going to be on panels and workshops and help you work through your careers. 20 partners have come to the table to support this conference, and then we have hired one new mental health and wellness manager. Danielle, can you raise your hand? We hired Danielle in part to support the mental health of the UMS musician. She's going to be here all weekend and 365 days a year, some vacation days in there, to support you. So I want to tell you what she's up to. Your mental health and your care matters so much to us. So here's a couple things that we have implemented at the festival. Sober bars. We are really into this idea that sobriety is part of our culture and that it needs to be celebrated. It needs to be an adult practice that people that everybody can participate in. So you're going to see our sober bars front and center. You're going to see our sober bar sponsors there. Part of the reason we're doing this too is whether or not you are sober or not, we can all slow it down. I mean, we all don't need to drink for 10 hours a day, 3 days in this smoky heat, right? Because then we're going to just be in a rumble on the streets. So we're going to, we're going to chill it out a little bit. Our entire team is trained in opioid overdoses. So if we're in a crisis, we got you. We're all going to be on the lookout and taking care of each other. We have a substance-free artist lounge for you this year. This is building on 3 years, the Artist Care Lounge. This is really fun this year, you guys. It's at Players Pub. So you got to pop by there, right? You're going to get all kinds of fun resources. Groovy is going to be doing some of the beverages there. And then you get to play games and sit in the AC. So stop by our artist lounge. Mental health sessions and resources are going to be here for you all weekend. And finally, post-fest resources, right? So stay in touch with us because we're going to be sending you resources throughout the year that are going to help you with your care, with your career, and your mental health. So the second pillar that we're committed to is our community. UMS has always been committed to our community, but we've just sort of doubled down on this as the partnership has evolved. So couple things you're going to see about how we're taking care of our community. First of all, one of the best ways to care for our community is to highlight stories of artists who are doing the work every day. So you're going to see a bunch of these posters around. Go to these folks' shows. We have impact artists, and we're highlighting their impact in the community. So we've got Miss Heffernan, Kalyn Heffernan, who is rolling by, running our accessibility plan. Nina, make sure you go to her shows. We've got Kayla, who I think is in the audience. There she is, supporting us with our mental health and also just bringing us home with her music, taking us through her many portals. And then Avery, who's not here right now, but he's here to kind of help you check in and chill. And this is his first UMS. So we also have the Trujillo Company, who is an impact artist, and Los Mocachetes. So highlighting your impact is part of our community care. So excited about this. Opportunities for the next generation. The 18 to 24-year-olds in our community have been hired by UMS to be part of the talent team, merch, and box office. So they are part of the infrastructure of the festival. They've also helped plan this. If you are 24 or younger and help plan Impact Days and you're in this room, can you just give us a little wave or are part of it in any way? Okay, I'm staring at our DJ going, hello. So these folks help put this conference on. We've also partnered with UCD and Metro to put this conference on to get more 18 to 24-year-olds involved. Our young creatives are producing the media content or some of the media content for UMS. So check out this podcast, Underground at the Showcase. I was on it yesterday. It's a blast. It's being filmed here. Many of you are going to be on it. Listen to all the artist stories from UMS that's produced by young creatives. And then finally, young creatives are performing on the stage. Now, little inside scoop. You all were part of over 2,000 applicants to play this festival from 46 states and 9 countries, and you all made it into 250 spots. So you can celebrate that. Give yourselves a round of applause. Want to make it super known as well that some of these young creatives from Youth on Record's programs who have made it into the festival did that on their own, right? We did not pull any strings for that. So we've got 5 of our fellows who are playing this year who really, I mean, they did it. They have been working on their craft, so really proud of them. But some of us haven't made it into UMS yet. I've never played UMS. Some of us have not made it into UMS yet, and there's a road to get there and a path to get there. So for the first time at UMS, we are doing a next-gen party. Please come and support these artists. These are artists who are right on the cusp of getting in the festival next year or the following year. And do you guys remember how much it meant to you to have artists you respected and admired in the audience of your shows? Like that, it just means the world. So you all can be that to this next gen and come to their show. That's Sunday, 2 to 4, and you can learn all about Youth on Record there. We're doing some underground parties too. Make sure you check those out. UMS can't do everything. We've got to get community voice in. Part of the way we do that is letting our community throw parties, right? So we've got next-gen parties, parties celebrating LGBTQ plus artists, BIPOC artist parties, international artists from the Americas hosted by the Biennial tomorrow at 4. Really great ways to connect with your community and see what community's up to. Y'all, this is the pride and joy of this festival for me this year. Honestly, Kalyn Heffernan and Jessica Wallach have taken charge of the accessibility planning and commitment for UMS. It is critical that if you do this work as a festival, it's a nothing about us without us. You must hire artists with disabilities to lead the charge. That's what UMS doubled down to do. Kalyn is doing this work, Jessica's doing this work, and what they've been able to do at UMS is to push us into more accessibility and inclusion. They've audited the venues, they've gotten preferred seating, accessibility maps, access tickets, on-site support for both music fans and artists with disabilities. And I think last year we had 1 artist with a disability that we knew of playing the festival. This year we have 6. And so this just keeps growing over time. So Kalyn is going to be talking about this on some of her panels, but really just some of the most, I think UMS is leading the charge in accessibility nationally at the festival landscape. And guys, we're indie. Like, we're not owned by some big anything, right? Like, this is true commitment to community and a real investment from Youth on Record in 2 parts. Okay, finally. This work is only possible if I hear from you, right? So much of this has been built because you told us to do it, and I need to hear from you again today. I have a session at 2 o'clock. I have invited some suits, right? Our elected officials. I have invited some folks in power positions, right? Folks who can move the needle for us are coming at 2 o'clock, and what are they here to do? Listen. We're gonna sit in a circle in this room. I'm going to moderate it, and you guys are going to tell us what you need, and then they're going to take that back and help move the needle on our music ecosystem. How does that sound? Good? Okay. So make sure you join me today at 2 o'clock. And then finally, find me. I'm accessible. I'm here. You can find me on all these ways. Send me a text. It is just truly my honor to be one of your co-managers for UMS and to host you this weekend. So thank you guys. Okay, So I want to kick things off by bringing up Smith Contreras, who is our Director of Programs at Youth on Record. He is going to take you through a conversation with two game-changing artists and get you oriented to the rest of the day. So welcome, Stephen.
Check. Good morning. Test. How are we feeling out there? Good morning. Yes. All right, can you hear me? Great. I am actually going to just go ahead. We are already tight on time. I'm going to invite Kalyn and Conrad up to the stage. We'll get things situated up here, and then, give them a big hand. All right, there we go. Can we do a quick just mic check? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Nice. Well, taking a deep breath. We're going to talk a bit about, well, let me just start with a quick little intro, and I'm sure that there's not much intro needed here. Kalyn Rose Heffernan, the wheelchair using rap heavy, many hats, tiny queer cyborg. Kalyn, who fronts the internationally acclaimed band Wheelchair Sports Camp and has recently stretched into theater, performance, public art, TV, prison tours, film, and much more. We got Kalyn here on stage. Give it up for Kalyn. We also have Conrad Mata, a producer, vocalist, and multi-instrumentalist. His independently produced sophomore album, Still, which I was at the release party, received wide acclaim. Also an actor, Conrad has Conrad has been present on many stages across the U.S. and has also played at many local venues here in Denver. So give it up for Conrad. And then as Jami mentioned, I'm Smith Contreras. I'm the Director of Programs at Youth on Record, also a musician, part of Siembra Sound System. You can check us on Sunday at 5:30. But also, here today, and we're going to frame this. I just want to give one more big shout out to the team at Youth on Record for putting this together. It's been a marathon week. We're here. So big shout out to the team at Youth on Record. So I want to frame this convo just around what we see as the arc of creative youth development and essentially connect the dots with what the UMS and Impact Days looks like, right? So our programs at Youth on Record start specifically in the community. We start with young people in middle schools, at libraries, community spaces across the Denver metro area. We're specifically doing a lot of work in Denver and in Aurora. These programs start with middle school age students, ages 12 to 14. Then we actually shift into what we call our YMS or YCE, the Youth Media Studio, the Young Creative Ecosystem, which is literally 5 blocks from here, where we have different artist mentorship programs, artist development programs. We have a podcasting audio arts program, and we have a fellowship, which we'll talk a bit more about. So when I think about this arc, it leads us to where we're at today, right? We have this space now where we're talking about what is the future of like music and the economy? How are we building networks? How are we building different partnerships, right? How do I grow and how do I build in these systems? So I'm really excited to start this convo with Kalyn and Conrad, specifically Kalyn, who has performed at many UMSs. I want to hear how many. And then Conrad, who is emerging on the scene, was part of the Youth on Record Fellowship, recently culminated an internship with Youth on Record, but really thinking about these two different lenses, international, nationally recognized musician, big pillar here in the Denver scene, and then emerging artist. So, Kalyn, I wanted to just start, tell us a little bit about your early influences and inspiration. How were you first exposed to music? Did this happen in the community? Was this at school? Where was this?
It was Power 106, the KS 107.5 of LA, and I was super duper young, and I remember hearing rap music and being like, what the hell was that? And my dad was like, turn that shit off. And seriously, ever since then, I've been into it. That was like 92, so I was 5. I'm an only child. I had to convince my parents to buy me the TLC record, Ooh on the TLC Tip, which is a safe sex public service announcement. I knew every word. Salt and Pepper, very necessary. Yeah, like Missy Elliott, those were like my first albums, and I wasn't really like a digger. I just had what I had, and that was enough. And yeah, mainstream like radio, rap music has been my thing ever since.
Nice. Yes, Conrad, tell us about your kind of influences, motivation, or like early inspiration, better said, with music.
I was fortunate enough to be placed in piano and saxophone lessons when I was in 3rd grade, and I really loved it. But similar to Kalyn, I was in the basement with my older sister and her friends, and they were playing music videos, and I saw Sweatpants by Childish Gambino, and it blew my mind. And I've always just been trying to capture that feeling. Like you said, I'm an actor and a musician, so music videos are very important to me. And yeah.
Nice. So tell me, thinking about your journey, right, from that first kind of inspiration, oh, what is this? Like, then actually starting to dive into the art form and taking it a bit more seriously. Was there a moment kind of in that time where things like clicked and it started to shift and it's like, oh, I'm starting to see like, I'm seeing myself in this, and I'm seeing myself as a creator and someone that can actually, navigate this art?
Yeah, for me, it was like talent shows was my first gigs, you know. I performed TLC, and then once I moved back to Denver in like 5th, 6th grade, I started doing talent shows and writing my own raps. When the Broncos won the Super Bowl, like every Denver boy wrote about, and then it was like middle school, I started like performing at talent shows once a year, you know, just one song. And then high school, I was like, nah, this is what I'm gonna do. And I wasn't really doing it. I was just like taking the pictures and making the covers and like put out a demo. And then, yeah, I think college, went to UCD to learn engineering. That was kind of my backup plan, which is just as competitive as being a rapper. So, yeah, I think it was like high school that I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do.
Nice. How about you, Conrad?
I downloaded Ableton in 2019, and it was the most daunting software I'd ever seen. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. YouTube was almost helpful. And yeah, I just put in my 10,000 hours, and I released an album, a homemade album. I was at a small art school at the time, so when people heard that Conrad made an album, it kind of spread, which was awesome, because my whole school, that was maybe 300 kids, all tuned in, and I got really great feedback, and it was inspiring. It made me feel like I can do this, and I want to keep doing this. This is really awesome.
Nice. Okay.
This dude is a wizard on Ableton. Okay.
Thank you.
Production master.
Yes to that. So I want to connect the dots a little bit here with like our programs at Youth on Record, and specifically our fellowship, right? And thinking about like mentorship as an artist, and being a mentee and a mentor, right? So at Youth on Record, we have a program. It's a 11-month fellowship. Currently, we have 12 fellows in the program, and we are lucky enough to have Kalyn as our lead faculty. Yes. There are several fellows here in the building today, and Conrad is actually a past fellow as well. So I want to talk a little bit and just learn a little bit more from your lens, both of your lenses. How has mentorship played a role in your development as an artist, both as a mentee and a mentor? And how is that essentially like framed kind of where you stand today?
Yeah, like the youth keep me hip. They keep me in touch with like what's cool. I feel so lucky for Youth on Record because I think like once you hit your late 20s, 30s, like you kind of stop hanging out with teenagers, which is probably appropriate. But you really like lose touch, and then you become that old person that's like, oh, when I was your age, rap music was so much better. And I don't know, I hated that shit as a youngster. I'm like, this is cool. Like, you don't know. They're saving the world with safe sex, Mom. Screw you. So like being, I've been mostly in high school classrooms for over a decade now, and I love teenagers and hate them, and they are tough. Like, they've also been really good for my ego. I come into class, I got a big head, I'm like, I'm your cool tiny rapper teacher, and they're like, whatever, miss, we don't care. So transitioning for me to be leading this fellowship has been like such a dope experience for me because now I'm with early 20-year-olds who want to be here and who are like excited and really like passionate. Some of my friends call me like Hef management. I'm always like trying to tell my friends like, oh, let me get you stickers, or like, let me help you with your website, or let me give you my booking contacts. Like, it's just kind of what we do, hopefully. And to be able to like put my resources together and like share with other people, and then the ideas that they share with me, So like, if I'm giving Conrad my booking contacts, I'm also like, Conrad, how'd you get on the Colorado Sound? Who's your contact there, right? it's very mutual. So yeah, I love it, and it keeps me fresh, keeps me like cool. I'm gonna be okay when I retire and do nothing,
I will always be grateful for Youth on Record and the fellowship program that I was part of. I had been playing open mics in Denver for a couple years, not really finding the friends or the musicians or experiences that I wanted, that I thought that would help me grow as a musician. And actually at UMS 2 years ago, somebody asked, does anybody have a lighter? And I had a lighter, so I lent them the lighter, and they, in our conversation, ended up telling me about the application for the fellowship. And I'm, again, so grateful for the fellowship. I was mentored by Kalyn and Mona, and the most impactful part of that fellowship and their mentorship is just when they went through their history of how they got to where they are, because I saw that they just came up with an idea and then pursued it. They just made it happen. They actualized that, and they instilled in all the fellows that same power is within all of us. And Youth on Record not only provides those mentorships, but have provided funding. It's so awesome and empowering to be able to start making music for performing, not just getting 2% of doors or a drink ticket. It's really fulfilling and encouraging that Youth on Record provides those opportunities.
Nice, yeah. And I'll just say for myself too, I think that as being as a mentee and a mentor, I've been through this journey both as a musician and an arts administrator. Have run into people that are much more open to sharing some of the gems and kind of opening doors for you, right? And then there's others that are more protective or potentially gatekeeping in the space. But I think that really, as we think about the framing of these 2 days and building a better future together, right? We're all in this together. We're all in this space of thinking about community and how does community show up in music and opportunities and building a better landscape and ecosystem for us all to thrive and make a decent wage to survive in this more and more expensive city, as well as the mental health lens and I really think the community lens as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the community lens in just a second. But I want to shift a little bit and think about where we are at today with like the local music scene. And as an emerging artist, Conrad, I've seen you out there. I've seen Conrad out there playing First Fridays and
bunch of guerrilla shows. I love them.
All over the place, right? But this is hard work. Like there's a hustle, there's a grind, right? If you're not out there trying to do it, like no one sees you, you're not getting paid staying home, right? You have to get out there, but also there's a balance with that. You have to take care of yourself and you have to know how to balance it all. But from your lens, what would you say is the state of like the local music scene here? Like what are some areas that you really appreciate about it, and what are some areas that you think we need to really work on in terms of what could be improved?
Well, I would first like to say that I love the community, the kindness within the Denver community. I've lived and worked in Los Angeles and Chicago, and I had to make it back to Denver because with those cities, people have a shot clock. Like, you have to prove to them that you are worth their time within 10 seconds or they're walking away. But Denver has people that listen, and conversations are fun. I would say that Youth on Record and UMS is special. I have not heard of anything like this in any other part of the world. So really, again, grateful to be here.
Nice. And I guess, Kalyn, just thinking about your trajectory and kind of where you're at today, you want to speak to a little bit about maybe some of the obstacles, challenges that you've been through, and then thinking about, where we're at today and where have we made improvements there, but then also what are other areas that we really need to focus on in terms of improvement, thinking about the local scene as well as national opportunities?
Yeah, I've always thought Denver is such a amazing place to be a creative and to create. I think Denver is a really hard place to be in the industry. We just aren't, we don't have that same ecosystem as LA or New York or Chicago, Nashville, and there's trade-offs, right? It's like, because of that, I feel like, we have time to actually have conversations. We have room, physically to grow. Because we're landlocked in this bubble, I feel like we're not quite as influenced by each other, in the same way that when you're in LA or Chicago, everybody's catching the wave, I can hear a Chicago poet, rapper, and be like, I know who you're friends with. Here you can't really pin a sound, and I love that creatively. Touring-wise, it's tricky, the next biggest city is Albuquerque or Salt Lake City, not super big cities, and 10-hour drive, so tricky trade-offs. I think we've always been a pretty humble community, and I'm super grateful to be part behind the scenes of UMS. I played my first UMS 12, 13 years ago, and thank you. It was very all white, and it was very all rock. Like, not only was it limited in diversity, but it was limited in genre. And so, like, I've been hyped every year that we're bringing, like, all kinds of different people to UMS. It's grown, it's more diverse. Now we got, like, younger people coming. Now we're trying to get more disabled people coming. Like, we have a conference. Like, this hasn't been happening for a long time. So, yeah, I'm proud of Denver, but I will say that, like, and I feel a similar feeling with me and friends that are mid-30s. Like, feels like a really existential time for music right now, and any probably industry, because we're coming back out of COVID, which isn't over, but we're trying to, like, figure it out. And the playing field was already really unfair and really hard for independent artists, but now it's like, oh God, like, as I'm starting to, like, put out new releases and tour again, I'm like, where the hell am I? You know, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like, I thought I had this, I don't want to say formula, but I had these tools, and now I don't know what that. I think people like Conrad and Mega Slushy and Ajay and Mickey back there are going to be actually better equipped to deal with the landscape ahead, because us older cats are like, we figured all these things out. It took 15 years to figure out press, booking, da-da-da, and now everything's gone. And, like, every time Beyonce releases something, everything changes again. And it's like, God, what am I doing? You know, it feels like it gets more expensive and, like, harder. So I'm feeling a little existential right now, but grateful to the young people in the house.
I do want to say, if I had one suggestion for the Denver community, we have a severe deficiency in dancing. It's granted, I really hit, like, dance club age just before COVID, so it's tough to say if it's just COVID, because I do think that changed the working of people's brains and social mechanisms. But I just encourage you this weekend at shows, bust a move, be free, please. It helps the musician up there give you a better show. You're gonna have a better time. You're gonna have some fun. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes to that. Yes to that. We are at time, and I know that there is the domino effect. The longer we go, we are affecting the next session. But I just want to close with this. I think that we have a community here, and to Kalyn's point, right? The next closest city being Albuquerque or Salt Lake City or Kansas City, right? These long trips, and so we have the opportunity to keep building this ecosystem and really building this community. And this weekend, you know, we've curated a number of panels that are bringing more of the pillars within this community around venues, around you know, building your team, thinking outside the box when it comes to merch, thinking about how to navigate radio, right? And so I really want to just highlight that piece that as a community, we need to make sure that we are connected, that we're working collectively, and that we're uplifting this space and this Denver scene that has a ton of opportunity. Closing. What does community mean to both of you in your music and how you push forward? Keep it to like 1 or 2 sentences. I know it's loaded, but we'll close with that. Community.
Maybe we're gonna start with him.
All right, my 1 or 2 sentences about community is that art is a giant net that we each make a little loop of with each piece of art that we make, so that nobody falls from their tightrope and feels like they are experiencing something nobody else has ever experienced. So just keep on making your little loops in the net, and we'll all be okay.
Just to that.
I love that. Community to me is relationships, building building relationships, keeping them, throwing them in the trash, rekindling them, yeah, just continuing to curate your group of people that keep you motivated, that don't shit on you all the time, and that really like give you that burning feeling like, no, I have to do better, cooler things, and I have to connect him with her because they would be a power team, and then they will someday hopefully help me. But it's bigger than like just our own art, you know.
Yes. All right. So with that, we'll close.
Thanks for having me.
Say hi to someone new today, meet someone new, and have a great day. Thanks all.
Thank you for the ramp. We love the ramp. Very long.
Yes.